Hello fellow classmates, my name is Jessica Ramey, and today I will be discussing library services on reservations and the vital need for public library facilities on these reservations. First, I would like to offer a little information and background on the Native Americans living on reservations in the United States. Native Americans are often identified as the most impoverished minority group in the U.S. This is evidenced by the extremely high poverty rate, low graduation rates, and increased rates of illness and disease. According to the National Park Service, there are 304 reservations in the continental United States. These 304 locations are spread out across the country, however most are found in the western half of the U.S. About 1 million Native Americans live on reservations in the U.S. 40% of that population lives below the poverty line. This is more than double the general population. On some reservations, the unemployment rate is as high as 66%. 30% of homes on reservations are considered overcrowded. It is not unusual to find 3 generations living in a 2-bedroom home. 50% of those homes are not connected to public sewers. Native American populations are also negatively affected by alcohol. 40% of Native Americans are dependent on alcohol. This is more than double the dependency level of whites. Mental disorders are also more common in Native American populations. The suicide rate is 72% higher than the general public. Mental disorders and alcohol abuse are significantly exacerbated by poor healthcare availability on reservations. Individuals living in Native American communities are less likely to obtain a high school diploma, only 71% compared to the national average of 80%, and they are far less likely to obtain a bachelor's degree, 11.5% compared to the national average of 24.4%. Education systems on reservations boast higher dropout rates and higher grade retention rates. One problem reservation education systems contend with is difficulty in attracting skilled teachers. Most teaching positions offer low salaries and can be located in areas of high poverty. Also, a non-native teacher that comes onto a reservation will have to confront the cultural differences that exist. Library services on reservations are incredibly inadequate. In fact, it is unknown how many library facilities exist on reservations. Reservation entities can be very difficult to contact, funding problems result in frequent closings and openings, and very often the definition of a library is not universal. To help illustrate the narrow scope of library facilities on reservations, I would like to tell you a little bit about the only reservation library I could find substantial information on. The largest reservation in the U.S., Navajo Nation, does have a public library and a public library website. However, the website reveals many inadequacies. The site does not provide any information on collection materials, community services, or even library hours. The library does have a series of pictures and a location description that reveals the library is the size of a medium-sized specialty store. The space is a one-room facility, completely inadequate for housing books and other library materials. The library serves a population of approximately 190,000. With this in mind, the library is not large enough to support the needs of its community. And on this slide you can see those pictures from that library. Navajo Nation's library is just one example of inadequate library services. The reality is that most reservations do not have any public library facility to speak of. This is something I hope to change with my initiative to establish public library facilities on U.S. reservations. Early on in the research process, I realized that Native American communities needed more than one singular library program. The population I have described is in need of the complete package public libraries can offer. First, we need to implement and develop reference collections and the staff trained to navigate them. Native Americans are eligible for all of the same government benefits as other citizens, but many do not understand how to gain access to these services. Reference collections need to provide material that can answer complex questions associated with government programs and regulations. Reference collections also need to carry information on mental health disorders and substance addiction. Doing so enables reservation residents to gain knowledge on these programs. It also provides them with information on getting help or finding help for those who need it. Next, we need to create collections that complement the educational needs of the local school systems. If reservation schools have difficulty keeping children engaged, then libraries need to identify ways to engage students when they are away from school. One great way to do this would be the creation of learning-based computer labs. I am suggesting we equip these labs with state-of-the-art learning games and interactive teaching tools. The lab could also be used to provide computer and internet access to the rest of the community when it is not being used by schools. We could continue to serve the schools by building library collections with the intention of supplementing the schools' collections. Such collections might include information on curriculums across the country. This information would provide teachers with invaluable knowledge on how their own curriculums should be structured. After curriculums have been established, teachers could collaborate with librarians, and we could ensure that the libraries acquire materials the school is unable to afford. Next, we need to develop general collections that highlight tribal culture. After many years of forced assimilation, those living on reservations need to see their culture celebrated and treasured. General collections could include works that are predominant in the general public, but they must focus on works that are specific to the Native American experience. On this slide, I've shown a few titles that are written by Native American authors. Finally, we need to develop programs and events that cater to families. Family dynamics are very important in Native American culture. In order to meet the needs of the people living on reservations, libraries must offer programming that appeals to all age groups. A few potential events might include a library historical event. The event would offer games featuring different stories and photo opportunities that have every family member dressed up as their favorite character or historical figure. Another low-key option would be offering a family movie night once a month. A third option might offer an opportunity for the library to honor the elders in the community. This event could include presentations by different members of the community that offer information on tribal culture, tradition, and history. All three of these events have the potential to engage all ages and foster the focus on family. While the creation of public library facilities on reservations will be a large undertaking, it is absolutely essential to improving the quality of life for those living on reservations. One narrowly focused program is not enough to meet the needs of these communities, but with the implementation of public libraries, we can make a difference.